Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2021 show. We are coming to you from the location of the Top Gun Race Shop, also the Grand King Race Shop. But Top Gun Garage is right up the road here at 50 feet. So if you're interested in seeing a race team in action, what they do in between races, stop by. They're located 8155 Crawfordsville Road in Indianapolis, just probably 500 feet east of Country Club Road on Crawfordsville Road. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NTT IndyCar Series, the SVRA, McGilvery's Pub and Eatery and Speedway, and VP Insurance. Keep your thoughts for Bob Jenkins and Robin Miller. They're both quite health problems, serious health problems, and they need all the help they can get it. If you can keep them in your mind and help them out, they'd certainly appreciate it. And is it time to get your roof replaced or have it checked and see if it needs to be replaced? And if it does, get an estimate. Well, I highly recommend you call Ted Howlett. He is my IT guy, so if he can do that, he can certainly get your roof measured and taken care of. So give him a call. His number is 317-500-3370. Everybody's favorite doctor visit is the dentist. Well, I'm going to tell you one that you will look forward to. We were there yesterday. Sharon, my honey pie, was there. She enjoys going. The people are spectacular. They really take good care of you. If you got a problem, they see you quickly. So if you need a dental, you haven't seen a dentist in a while, give them a call. The Indy Dental Group, Indy 500 veteran Dr. Jack Miller and his wife, Dr. Liz Lewis, have a spectacular practice. We'll give them a call. Make an appointment. Number is 317-846-6125. And my computer genius has a shop. He's located at 549 Fleming Street, which is about maybe a mile or less east of Lyndhurst on West Washington Street. If you got a problem with your computer, call him. If he can't get to the shop, he can make a house call. His number is 317-938-7711. And for those who say, geez, why do these people get in these cars and go so fast? Why don't you find out? Take a ride in the Indy Racing Experience two-seater. They don't go 240 miles an hour, but they'll go faster than you've ever gone before. And it's really quite exciting, and you'll enjoy it. You'll wonder how we're not going to make it around the corner, but you do. It's amazing. So go to IndyRacingExperience.com, find a date that'll work for you and book it. And otherwise, you can call their office at 317-243-7171. Ask for Shonda. And if you're online or talk to her, tell her the promo number is DK1 and you get a 50% discount. Is it time for insurance for your home, your car, your commercial property? Do what most of us have done and call Mike Pardee at VP Insurance, located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Mike can help you out. You might be surprised, as we have been, a lot of us have been, get better coverage for less money. So give him a call, tell him what you need. The number is 317-248-0070. That's VP Insurance, 317-248-0070. Upcoming events for the SVRA and Trans Am, July 22nd to the 25th, they'll be in Portland at Portland International Raceway. And then September 8th to the 12th, they'll be at the Glen, Watkins Glen, New York. And they will also be at the Nashville Music City Grand Prix. It's actually the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. The Trans Am will be performing there. So get down there and check them out. You'll love it. While you're at it, get a chance, look up svra.com and subscribe to Speed Tour Magazine. It's a spectacular publication, a lot of good stories, good pictures, and stories about the drivers you knew and what they're doing today. You might be surprised. Some of them are still running in the vintage events. And if you got a vintage car, would you like to get one? The Grand King Shop can help you. Give them a call at 317-820-3595. Tell them if you got one, you need it restored. If you're looking to get one, they'll help you. Check them out. The Grand King Race Shops, 317-820-3595. I have a very special guest today, somebody that people see her work, but never probably figured out where they came from. Everyone sees a race car driver of any kind in any series putting earpieces in their ear, and you wonder, and nobody says too much about it because you see them and put it in the ear and so forth. But what's in that little tiny thing is amazing. And the lady that has probably put together, from what I'm told, the finest there is, she provides state-of-the-art products for and audiological services designed to protect the hearing and deliver the most demanding of play and work environments. She does it for a lot of places. Some of them will kind of surprise you. Please welcome a young lady that I've been trying to catch up with for some time, Dawn Flinn. And Dawn, thanks for joining us today. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I have heard of your work and you for a long time, because I've been around this sport of IndyCar and NASCAR early on for a lot of years. And when you first came up out of high school and so forth, was this something you wanted to do, or did you stumble on it, as happens frequently?
It's an interesting path. My father is a veterinarian. There was a sign in front of an animal hospital that had most of my name on it already. Pretty convinced that was going to be my path. To my own detriment, being 18, 19, going into college, feeling like you knew everything, I couldn't understand why they wanted me to go back and learn about chlorophyll. Of course, now as an adult, I grasp why you need those basics, but I was already working in an animal hospital for 15 years. It felt silly. So I came across this young lady doing some work in her dorm room, and it was phonetic transcription. And if we're being completely honest, it sounded easy and I thought it would be fun. So I applied to the School of Speech and Hearing Sciences, and I followed a career path for audiology.
And you have done very well with it. Do you have a staff? You told me the other day when I talked to you that you're doing research now on something else. Do you do a lot of that yourself, or do you have a staff?
I am trying to become more aware of what I should be looking at with the population of people that I have access to. I'm sure there's been an audiologist before me that worked with motorsports, but I don't come across another one that walks the paddocks like I have for the last 21 years. It's my goal to change the culture of hearing conservation in motorsports. I was quoted in an article several years ago with a man you might know, Jeff Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
And asked him about his hearing, and he said, oh, well, it gets worse every year. It's a result of what I do. And I'd like to be here to tell you that it doesn't have to get worse every year. And that's my goal. So I want to make it accessible. I want to make it informative. I don't want to make it salesy. I want to make it educational and empower all of these people with the knowledge to hear better and work better in the noise.
What I've been told is your ear pieces can block out sound outside, that you put them in and all of a sudden you think the world stopped because there's nothing. However, and the ones that IndyCar and NASCAR probably and NHRA and so forth have a piece built into not only can they hear speech when the crew's talking to them, it can also record the impact if they hit a wall on the head. Yes. All of that in that little tiny thing you can hardly see.
So that's gone through several iterations. I'm proud to say that I was part of the first generation of earpiece accelerometers that were created in combination with the IndyCar technical department, Sensophonics, a manufacturer out of Chicago that I utilized for some of my products, and Delphi Motorsports out of Kokomo, Indiana. I didn't know what I was stepping into. I was just the person taking molds of people's ears. And that's where the getting rid of the outside sound part comes in. My skill is taking an ear impression.
Well, somebody's got to do it without any question. Somebody has to do it. Now,
Yes.
The interesting thing to me is there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of facilities where people are working and there's noise. And it does affect them at some point in time. Now, having said that, I contacted you last week, I think it was, to set this up. And you said, I'm sorry, I'm a little late answering the phone. I'm in, I think, South Carolina. Said, good grief, what in the world are you doing there? He said, I'm taking ear impressions of employees at a canning factory. I never thought of that. but this can work anywhere. If there's noise, you can help solve the problem.
Correct. Correct. So I found that serendipitously through trying to find some solutions for IndyCar and communicating in noise and external microphones. And so I do contract work also for these industrial settings. Now, the biggest difference, industrial settings, they're regulated by OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Association. Racing and music is the reason that I started my business. So it's also kind of a surprise to me that I ended up in motorsports. It's not regulated by an agency. It is a self-regulation, which gives us the opportunity to educate these people. But I've modeled my hearing conservation programs and my best practices for hearing conservation in these non-regulated environments after what we do for people in factories.
Well, it's very interesting because one of your main musicians that you work with, and I'm sure there's many more, is Dave Matthews, who
Yes.
most of the world would know who Dave Matthews is. Even I know who Dave is.
Ironically,
I don't know him personally, but I know.
The kids don't anymore. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And the other thing that a friend of mine stumbled on and talking about it is you provide a hearing piece for your cell phone, because a lot of people are looking at races, as you know, on their damn phone. And they can't hear what's being said because of the noise. You solve that problem. You've got earpiece you put in, you can hear the radio, you don't hear anything else, or your handset.
Correct. It acts as your radio receive. It's just like I do for the drivers. It's just like I do for the crew guys. It's just like I do for the safety people. It's creating something that fits your ear, that serves as a hearing protector first and foremost. And then because it has a speaker in there, you get the benefit of listening at lower volume levels and extending your safe listening time. And anybody who's heard me talk before, they hear me say that all the time. That is the trick. How can I help you listen at lower volume levels and extend your safe listening time? And then you can retain your hearing for longer in your life.
You know, it's interesting to me because I've never used the earpiece. I've been around racing for 60 years. I must be fortunate because my hearing isn't all that bad. I've had it tested and they said, for what you've been involved in, it's amazing. I said, well, you got a thick head. It takes a while to get the sound in. But people do. And a lot of racing people you talk to, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because they do have trouble hearing. Constant noise, of course, is there. So how do you get in that little tiny thing that I say, if your eyesight isn't good, you have trouble seeing, it's that small, but you got a speaker. I don't know where to get a speaker in there.
So the speakers are called balanced armature transducers, and they're readily available. It's nothing miraculous that hasn't been out there. There is a parts list 1.5 miles long, though, and they're chosen based on some specifications. When we make them for racing, we choose speech frequencies. So I focus in on our vowels to our consonants. I don't want to add any more in there, right? Drivers just want to hear inside, clear, clear. If it's a musician, I'm going to use a different speaker that's going to carry a broader range because music goes from low, low to high, high, and a musician desires to hear all of that. So it's taking a good ear impression, helping the person make a really good product choice for the right application, and then just educating them because all of these things, it does rely on them using the volume smartly. Our devices are helping us more and more, but they always give us a chance to override it. So it really does come down to our desire to protect our hearing.
I was having lunch with somebody yesterday, and she was telling me that her brother has come up with a way to make a can, and they put mixed cocktails in them now. And he manufactures the cans. And I said, well, if there's any noise in there, if you can't hear a pencil drop on the ground, there's noise. I know somebody can help the employees save their hearing. And I'm assuming, even though it's probably an aluminum can, there's still noise. Machinery running. They don't do it, tap with a rubber hammer. And I said, this is something you ought to look at. And they said, we will. So now when we're done, I'm going to call her and say, this is coming up. Listen to her. She might have something your brother could use in his factory.
I go to steel mills and corrugating facilities. I go to paper mills, And I love it. It's like watching, it's like your job being a big episode of how it works or how it's made kind of thing. It's really neat.
Now, thing that I've always noticed is when it, particularly IndyCar, but I've seen other series where they, you go and then stick it in their ear. I don't know if I want to take something out of my ear and lick it and put it back, but I'm assuming they clean them.
Electronic. It's electronic, and then they look at me and they wonder why it doesn't work right after I shoved it in the mouth. It is funny. It is funny. I don't find it necessary. If they insert them correctly and if it fits well, it shouldn't really give you a struggle.
Well, I find it interesting, the things that people don't think about that are actually very crucial to a race driver, no matter what kind of series they're in. They need to be able to hear what's going on. They need to be able to hear not only outside, go ahead, pull in, but you won. Make sure they know you won. So it's something that's very small, but it can save your hearing for years to come, because you won't get out of a race car after 20 years driving and say, huh? I didn't hear you. Say that again. Amazing.
It's so important. There are sprint car drivers, they call me, and the story they call me, they find the need because their earbuds fell out of their ear somewhere during the race and they didn't hear that they had to go off the side, and they get disqualified after they won the event because they didn't hear the official tell them to pull into wherever you're supposed to pull into to get your trophy and all that stuff. So, and it's so important because even in IndyCar, how big is the visor? Rhetorical, right? What is it? 2.5, 3 inches, somewhere there. And then the mirrors on the side. It's all auditory. And the part of your hearing that gets damaged as a result of the exposure to the noise, it's your consonant discrimination. A lot of people have recognized this with wearing masks throughout COVID, not being able to determine whether the person right in front of you said mouse or mouth.
Yeah.
So when you're driving a race car and you're dealing with all of that noise and you have a hearing deficiency or a damaged auditory system, it's really crucial to be able to eliminate that noise to make the speech signal clear enough for them to do their job correctly, safely, and with as much ease as possible.
Where do you get these manufactured? I mean, you do most of the ideas and design and so forth, but where do you have them made?
There are labs throughout the United States. And again, I choose them based on their specialty. I want to play to their strength. So if you were a musician, if you were Dave Matthews, I wouldn't send you to my racing earpiece lab. I wouldn't send your ear impressions to my racing earpiece laboratory. I send it to my choice for music products. If you're a racing person, I go all day to the same laboratory that I've worked with to design this piece, because I believe in it. It's durable. It's created with a digital process. I keep a scan of ear impressions on file. I encourage them to tell me if there is something that makes their ear hurt or let sound past it, right? Because the other thing is realistic expectations. I rely on the person telling me that I've done what I said I was supposed to do.
How difficult is it to manufacture something individually to fit a person's ear? Because I know mine, I've had earplugs before and one fits and one falls out. So your ears are not exactly the same.
Yes, and bluntly, it starts with a good ear impression, right? Nothing I do, I don't want to be self-deprecating, right? I got to believe in myself and believe in what I'm doing, but it is not rocket science. It is caring about and taking a good ear impression for the person, explaining to them what they should have for expectations for this product in their ear and when they use it, and then working together to find the one that's going to fit consistently. So the one that falls out of your ear, it's rhetorical, but was it a bad ear impression or was it not a good lab?
Well, mine came from a pair that I just bought thinking, oh, this will help. It'll cut down the noise. Well, it did for one side, but not the other.
Gotcha. It's a little different with custom, right? We eliminate the variability of your ear canal being too big or too small for it because I'm actually taking a mold of your ear.
Right. So you get them right. Is there anybody else doing this?
If you are asking me who my competition is, and I'm holding back from air quotes, I would say it's the radio companies. They do also offer a similar service. The downside there, they're not audiologists. So if you care about who is in fact sticking stuff in your ears, it's a really great thing to have a person who is qualified to do it. There is a proper way to take an ear impression. There is a process. There are papers written on it, and watching a video for 15 minutes and then just go and handling people is not really ideal. So I would always suggest going to an audiologist. At least you're going to be safe. You're going to be safe, and you're going to know that it's most likely going to be a good ear impression.
But from my little research that I've done, the name that pops up most often is you. And that speaks, I'm sorry?
Makes me happy, right? Then I'm doing what I say I've wanted to do, make the difference for people.
Well, from what they tell me, you make the difference, and what your product and your service is, as far as I can find, second to none for what you do. And as you say, radio stations, when they're paying a jock, $300,000 a year, they ought to be able to afford you to come in and get them some earpieces that won't damage them and take care of them, or musicians or whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it's not up to me.
It is an interesting thing because it's always a balance of value for the dollar and the benefit that the person receives. I also dispense hearing instruments. I'm sure you have heard from some of your friends that they're kind of disappointed with the amount of money that they've spent for and the result that they've gotten from them. It's such an individual and variable thing. I dislike dispensing hearing aids as my primary job because benefit is not a, who wants to say, no, I don't like these. Nobody wants to hear that when you're doing your job. The earpiece part is so much more fun. They're wonderful. Do you have my earpieces, please?
Well, a friend of mine, as you know, contacted you and has ordered a set for himself. And his wife said, you test them. If they work, then I'll get a set. I'll get a pair. So how long does it take from the time you take an impression and place it? How long does it take to get it made?
So I saw that gentleman not too long after you communicated with him, and I am going to schedule his delivery either tomorrow or Friday. So it's 7 to 9 business days. We had a holiday in the middle that kind of made it seem forever, and the lab isn't open on the weekends. That's all.
Well, what kind of deal is that?
It's horrible, isn't it?
You'll work weekends, won't you? And do a lot.
I'm in the middle of a 12 or 13 day stretch. I think I'm going to do some yard work this afternoon, finally.
There you go. And this gentleman friend of mine that is getting the earpieces can't wait to go because he's going to Nashville.
Yes.
He'll have them set to go. Well, it's interesting, the things behind what happens. You see a race car and it goes fast, but you don't know what's all involved in it. All the things that are there to protect the driver, number one. And I think, as you probably would agree, the cars today are as safe as they've ever been. And the drivers that I talk to, are you concerned? No. The cars are built to protect me, and they do. And of course, the other good part is when they do have a problem, when the safety team shows up, they know who they are. At least in IndyCar, they know who they are because they're all the same. They always go there. So, and then at the racetrack, if they have trouble hearing, where's Dawn?
Yeah,
You're there somewhere.
11 a little text from Tony. Hey, Dawn, can you come here and shave the canal on my earpiece? Sure, man. Don't you want to get in the car? He's funny. You were talking about the safety, and yes, we started talking about those earpiece accelerometers. I am really proud of where the program is today. I am not an engineer and I am not a project manager. And I want to say shout out to the IndyCar technical team, Mark Sandy and Vicky Laux. I got to say her name right. They have put together and advanced that earpiece accelerometer, EPA, So they set something in the accident data recorder in the car, and these little sensors are inserted in the driver's earpieces. And these sensors are on 3 axes, an X, Y, and Z axes. And so when the accident data recorder acknowledges the car has been in an accident or there's an acceleration that exceeds a certain level, it starts recording and pulling all this information. And so it records from the driver's ears how their head has moved and suffered through that incident. I love it. It's changed some things about the car, which improves the safety. And I got to be just a little part of that. It's awesome.
Well, it's quite interesting, how many things tie together that the fan sitting in the grandstand has no idea. And I have to tell you, 60 years when I started, I didn't have any idea either. But having been around so long, I figured out how to find the people that make things happen. And you're one of them I've been wanting to talk to for some time, and you've always been a tough schedule because you're always on the move. And they say a moving target's hard to hit, so as long as you keep moving.
People keep telling me to keep moving, so.
But unfortunately, today you got a cell phone, so no matter where you are, it's with you, and you can get a hold of you, like in South Carolina at a canning factory. Don, I appreciate what you've done. I know the drivers and the crew members that use your products and the fans that have figured it out. And I'm going to go on a campaign to let people know that it's available for the guy sitting or gal sitting in the grandstand and want to hear their iPhone and hear what's being said.
Or their scanners. Yep, you can go and get a scanner and plug it right in that same opening there. So
I'm gonna make sure that people realize that, and who knows, I hope your phone will ring, or I'll send them to your website.
excellent. Yeah,
Thanks
I welcome it.
I thank you for your time. I thank you for what you've done to help those involved in a very, I guess, a dangerous sport, although particularly IndyCar, it's getting a little less dangerous with the car construction, but dangerous nonetheless. And I applaud you for what you have done, what you have advanced. And a lot of these guys, when they're sitting in the retirement home, we can still hear, they can thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Keep up the good work. And one of these days there'll be another knock on your door, perhaps, and it'll probably be me saying, "What's new?"
Thank you. Thank you, Don.
My guest has been a lady that is a very important part of motorsports and noise control. Dawn Flinn. She owns a company. It's called Ear Everything, not here, eareverything.com. Look at it. Check it out. If you're just a fan listening on your iPhone, she's got a headset that'll block the noise out, and you can hear what's being said by the television people that are getting paid a lot of money to tell you. So thanks for being here. And remember, we've got some more guests lined up. We'll be back here again in the near future. Keep track of us at autosportradio.com or on our Facebook page, Don K, and also Autosport Radio Facebook page. Until the next time, Don saying thanks to Dawn. Thanks to you for watching. We'll see you again.